Eychimo here. Occasionally you log into the PU and you get an empty server and you just get really good frames per second. We logged in here and we were getting a steady 50 plus for a couple minutes. It is really nice. Game actually runs completely different. Well, of course, when you're getting this kind of frames per second, it doesn't happen often. The longer I was on, the more it degraded. Time I was in 5 minutes, it was down to maybe a 30 frame per second average. It eventually got down to around 20 and it crashed. That's just being on the PU. But I thought everybody might like to see that it is possible to get those kind of frames per second in the PU. I know a lot of people are making videos. And I see them registering high frames per second. I have a big suspicion that most of them are running the game in offline mode to get those frames per second consistently, unless you have a very high-end rig like somebody like Fire who can get 40 frames per second, but he has all the latest equipment. So he's got the muscle to process more information that the server's given. I don't have a slouch as a rig. It can run almost every AAA title I've ever tried on at 60 frames per second in high settings. And it runs Oculus Rift titles at 90 frames per second, no problem. But it does struggle most of the time. In Star Citizen, I usually get into most of the times we're looking at 15 frames per second when I'm in the PU. It runs 55, 60 in Arena Commander. So there is hope that if they ever get this cleaned up, we will actually have a game that's enjoyable to play and not struggle. Definitely a lot of things you see when you're in the PU because of lower frame rates you may think are bugs that are not. It's just that the rigs are struggling to process so much information they get. I think more than anything, the most you could do is, unless you have a $3,000 rig, it's just not going to happen very often.
Ascending to 30 meters, retracting modules, handing you the call.
But the game does run really nice when you can get 50 frames per second. Even 30, it runs really well. As you can see, it's slowly degrading. People are logging into the server. And it will eventually get down to 20. As I said, after a planetary landing, the game just crashed.
Closing.
And that's can happen, doesn't happen. I really don't crash all that often. But occasionally the server loses you and you get a return that it does not know where you are at. So it just locks up. I've also noticed whenever I log in and I get a good return for the server,
engaging jump,
and frame rates are up, I get a lot of intercepts on my quantum jump. Now, I just don't know if that's because I don't know if it's the reason because it's working better, but I have noticed that's true, that there's a lot of intercepts when you're getting good frame rate. But anyway, I thought everybody might like to see that it is possible to log in and get some really nice frame rates. It just doesn't happen very often.